Koen, here in Seville, firstly, how are you feeling after running an incredible 2:06 marathon just a few months ago? Obviously below the Olympic qualifying time for Paris as well, so congratulations on that. How are you?
First of all, thank you very much. I feel excellent. For an athlete, it's always very nice if you have the standard like way before the Olympics, so we can really work towards the Olympics without like chasing other races or chasing standards. So it gives us a little bit an advantage to other athletes who still has to run another marathon, because a marathon always asks a lot of your body. So it's always a risk to run a marathon like late spring season. March is still okay, but April is getting really close to August. So we have the advantage that we can plan just doing base work, taking no risks, shooting for a good half marathon, and hoping for an excellent Paris 2024 marathon.
And of course you were in Tokyo as well. You finished 10th, if I'm right.
Yes.
So how was that experience? Obviously very different because of COVID, but that must suit you well for, potentially being in Paris.
Yes, indeed. Paris will be my third Olympics. So
Olympics.
I was in Rio as well.
2016.
I was 22nd. Then 2021 in Tokyo 10th. So I'm always getting my performance getting better and better.
So the trajectory is looking good.
Yeah, indeed. I hope I can keep going like that. That would be nice. But the difference between Rio and Tokyo was huge, and I think the level of marathon running now even in those 3 years between Tokyo and Paris is even bigger. So the marathon standards are getting so high, but I will do my absolute best, and I hope on a good day and a good performance in Paris, and then I have to be happy.
What's the kind of the judgment of success, if you like, in Paris? Is it to be in the top 5, the top 10, to make the podium? I mean, what's the ultimate goal there?
The ultimate goal, I think it's always difficult to put a number on it, or a place, but something very important for me is like the Olympic diploma. I think I have to be honest with myself. I think I need a little miracle to get on the podium, but sometimes miracles exist and you never know, because I think Paris will be challenging with the weather and the course. So you never know, and I will prepare myself the best as I can. But top 8 is my absolute goal.
Yeah.
I was pretty close in Tokyo with Lorenz Girono, who is fourth,
Yeah.
who is out of competition now. I would be 9th, so that's one place. But we will see. Every race is different, and a championship is always a strange race, so we will see.
I was about to say the course in Paris, because it goes out to Versailles, it's not the traditional Paris marathon.
No.
It's a very hilly course. It's a bit like Boston in that sense. How's that process, that thinking going to be going into your head?
Yeah, sometimes I think it can be an advantage, especially in combination with the weather. So I think it will be a battlefield in Paris. I think we will have a very strange, we have very strange results in Paris. But for me, I take it as an advantage. Also because the qualification is already in the pocket. So we are really preparing my body for a tough course and a tough race. Those preparations and those races aren't always like the most fun things to do, but we are professional runners, so of course it's fun, and we are happy if we can do a preparation without injuries and stuff like that. But if you have to train in 25 degrees or 30 degrees with 3 layers of clothes, that's it's out of your comfort zone.
I was about to say the marathon, we're just seeing, you were doing this interview in December 2023, Joshua Cheptegei obviously going, in Valencia. Everyone thought, okay, this guy is going to be doing amazingly well because he's the 5,000 meter and 10,000 meter world record holder, yet the marathon takes no prisoners. It's a tough distance. How's that for you? The battle between, the dynamic between the mind and the body, how does that process work for you?
Like you said, it's not because you run world records in 5 and 10K. I think we saw it last year with Guidé as well. Of course, she ran fantastic, but everyone thought she could run faster. But half or even like 5:10 or half marathon isn't the marathon. I always give the example of Chris Thompson,
Yeah.
who always ran like 2 or 3 60 flat half marathons a year, but always had a little bit of difficulties in marathon. So it's a special distance and physiological. It demands a lot of your system, and that's why marathon runners only run 2, maximum 3 marathons a year, because you just have to recover enough. And if you don't respect that, I think injury or a short career is around the corner.
And what does a normal training week for you look like? What's the distance? And I know fartlek is becoming quite a big thing now for a lot of athletes as well.
It depends on the build-up. For now, I ran New York, so I was 5th in New York 6 weeks ago. I had a 3-week off season, but off is not off because I still running, but I did no interval training. And after my recovery, I got sick. So I have 1 week of training now, which is going okay, but shape is not there. But we have time enough. So I'm training. I think right now I'm about 100 kilometers running and around 50 or 60 alternative on the elliptical.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like in between season, in between my marathon blocks, I do a lot of alternative training, aqua jogging, even without injury, aqua jogging, elliptical. But in my marathon block, it starts like 12 weeks before my marathon. I'm going above 200, and actually it doesn't matter how much, but I go to 240, 250, but I don't think it's really necessary. But just for me, if I feel great, and I'm in Kenya, I like to get the most out of it because I'm away from my family. So I wanna train because I like it, and it's not that I'm counting. Oh yes, now I have 250. Oh yeah, I feel great. But mentally, of course, if I can say, oh yeah, I had these were good weeks here in Kenya. That's something important.
And that training in Kenya as well, how's that dynamic for you? Because that's where all the top, obviously, NN running team, for example, they go out there for that. What's that dynamic, not just from a mental and a physical point of view, but almost from a spiritual point of view as well?
For me, the fact that I can be away from the family, that sounds a little bit crazy, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, okay. Then it's okay. For me, it gives a lot of I have a lot of time to rest, to train a lot. I run in between 200 and 250 k's a week, but I have a lot of time. I'm doing a lot of meditation, so I'm meditating at least twice a day, and when I'm on altitude camp, I can do a lot more sessions of meditation. So for me, that's one advantage of being in Kenya, and just hanging around without any. For example, I like to train in the States as well, but in the States, you go to the store, you have like a bunch of candy in the store, and
whereabouts in is that Flagstaff, Arizona?
Mehmet. I prefer Mehmet.
Oh, okay.
Mehmet Lakes. I've been there 4 or 5 times.
Nice.
with the Dina Castor group, Mehmet Track Club. I went to Flagstaff 4 times, but now since 2021, I found my spot in Iten. I waited long time to go to Kenya because I was a little bit afraid of the food and the life over there, but once I was there, I was sold, and there was no distraction, just running, meditating, living like a monk on my mountain. So living the life.
I'm going to ask, what was the inspiration behind the marathon? Why choose that distance? Because for many, it would be seen as something where you think, oh, okay, I have to do it more than I want to do it.
Yeah. No, for me it was the other way around. Like I'm a decent I was a decent 5:10 and half marathon runner, but we already knew in my early 20s that I was made for marathon. Because of my lactate testing and stuff like that. And I think I waited until I was 26, 27. I don't know, I'm not sure yet. Before going to the marathon, and I made a very good debut. My second marathon was spot on, qualification for Rio, and then my career started. And you get more mature, you learn how to prepare and to run a marathon. And I see I'm getting older. I'm becoming 35 next year.
That's still young for the marathon.
Yes, but I
With
feel
people like Kipchoge, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, indeed. But my body, with training for marathon, got some how do you say, like, got hit by all the Ks and the build-ups. But physiologically, I'm getting better every year. My results are getting better. I just have to treat my body very well, physio, massage, osteo. So if I really have a good plan for that, and I can keep my body healthy, physiologically, I'm like getting better every year. So I'm not planning to stop yet. I said I'll check until Paris, and then we'll see. But now I'm like, Paris is around the corner. I will add some extra years.
You can do Tokyo in 25 as well, yeah.
25, we have also the European Championships in 25 in Belgium. The road running championships, European road running championships. So we will see. I don't have my schedule yet after Paris, because now full focus Paris, and that's the only thing that counts now.
And like when you started off with the marathon, around Rio, obviously, then you won the European Championships in Berlin in 2018. Where you are now as an athlete, as a person as well, how is there a difference when you look back, kind of like what's the kind of the comparison that you make where you are now with the marathon to when you were kind of competing then?
When I started running marathon, I was still working as a nurse in a special burn care center.
Oh wow!
So I combined both, and I tried to be a full-time professional athlete, but I missed something. So the year that I was fully professional, I didn't feel very great. So I started studying again. So now I'm doing my master's in health promotion, because next to sports and running, my other passion is healthcare. So I like to learn, and with running, I have a physical thing I want to achieve, and with my studies, I have an intellectual thing I want to achieve. For me, it's a good balance, and that's something I learned when I was younger. You work and you think, I wanna be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Running is the only thing that counts. Now I have a family, so family running is my number one priority. And then I have, as a hobby, I study. People say like, "Are you crazy? Your hobby is studying?" I'm like, "Yeah."
How is that balance between the two, anyway?
It's sometimes it's heavy, because my kids are 7 and 2.5. My son is 7, and if I go on training camp for 1 month or 2 times a year for 1 month, I'm away. He starts understanding how long 1 month is.
Yeah.
And it's getting more and more difficult for him. So I think if it's getting more difficult for him, maybe for me it's a reason to start thinking like, okay, you have to think about retiring, because like I said, they are my number one priority. My family is a little bit above running.
Yeah.
But now it's still okay, because they see I enjoy for me it's not, it doesn't feel like a job. I'm very fortunate I can work professionally as an athlete, but it doesn't feel like work. Sometimes people go to work like, oh, do I have to work? And I'm like, oh, I'm so fortunate. Check, we're here.
It's not a bad background.
It's insane. You meet people you would otherwise never meet. So living the life. I'm happy.
And finally, for me, like on that point, the impact of Asics and what that's done for you, not just as an athlete but as a person as well. What's that been like?
Yeah, from the moment I signed with Asics, they were like, their number one priority is the athlete, and you can feel it. And as an athlete, that gives you a very good feeling. Like they organize or they let athletes in the project to give feedback on the products. I never felt anything like that in any other brand. They organize events like this, testing, special races like in Corona, Morton, 10K. Then they did the Malaga event. All athlete centered, of course. There is always marketing around, but I think it's a brand, so they have to make their products count and stuff like that. But the sports marketing team within Asics is phenomenal. Communication is on top. They treat athletes. They how do you say, like as an athlete we have psychological support if we want. Sound mind, sound body is not just the slogan, but it's like the way of living within the brand, and as an athlete you can feel that.
Cool.